Well, joining us today on Best Dog Life is Holly Freeze. She's an artist and her medium of choice is acrylic paint on canvas. She has a talent for painting animals and brings them to life in a visually appealing and emotionally engaging way. She painted a portrait of my dog Hilo and really captured his spirit. So today I wanted to chat with Holly to learn more about her passion, art, and share her story. So thanks for joining us today, Holly.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. So let's see here. When I look at Facebook and, I look at some of your artwork, I've seen that you have it all under this Holly's Art Imaginarium, which sounds like a magical place. Can you tell me a little bit about what it is and how you came up with the name?
So Holly's Art Imaginarium is just a title for my business, my art business. So how we came up with it is like for anything I have to name, if it's my business name that we're talking about, or a painting, I always include my family. It's always a family affair, which is a lot of fun. So as I'm working on a piece, we bring everyone together, my husband and my children, and we all kind of have like this fun little competition for who can come up with the most clever name or the most interesting name for a piece. And it's kind of like the winner gets the title, right? So it's a lot of fun bringing everybody in and discussing what the painting is going to be, or even they'll come to me with an idea and say, I think you need to paint this painting with this idea in mind and have this title for it. So I'm like, okay, that sounds like a lot of fun. Let's go for it.
Very cool. Very creative, I got to say. Okay, so obviously I've seen a lot of your artwork. I'm very impressed. And you paint a range of subjects. But what motivates you to paint animals? Because I think you, from what I've seen, do a great job of capturing them.
Yeah, so I didn't paint animals up until a few years ago, actually. I was flipping through some photos and I found this kind of funny cow, and I thought, well, that might be fun to try painting an animal. And it really took off. I loved the idea behind having a whimsical character in an animal, because they can be so funny and so interesting. And I love the idea of painting something that someone can connect with and have a laugh or an emotional kind of fun feeling from a painting that I do. So I find that animals are an easy path to that kind of an emotional connection with a painting, because they're a lot of fun.
Yes, they are. So is that the cow that, when I look at your Facebook page, is that the one that sort of takes center stage, the one where you can see the nostrils and the horns?
Yes, I called him Nosy.
Nosy, okay.
Right up in there. And it was actually my very first animal painting that I was talking about, and my very, very first painting that I ever sold. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
very special to me.
Yeah, it's very cool. I hope people get to check it out because I think what I really liked about it was the perspective. It's on sort of almost like you're beneath the cow, and then there's like really whimsical colors in the background. So it's a really cool piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was definitely when we saw some of your artwork, that was definitely the reason why we picked you to do our to paint our dog. So we definitely appreciate it. So I wanted to ask you, just dig a little bit deeper into this and find out, like, how are you able to really sort of capture the spirit of an animal? Like I guess I'll give the comparison when you did the portrait of my dog. You did such a great job of capturing his spirit in the sense you could look at the eye and there was so much fine detail. So I was just wondering, like, how do you get in, how are you able to do that?
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned the eyes, because that is what I spend a lot of time trying to really replicate. Because the eye, I always think of the saying, the eyes are the window to the soul. And so besides all the features and characters of an animal, especially a commission piece that I'm really hyper detailed on, all the things that a pet, someone's pet, would recognize in their own pet, right? Their freckle or a little quirk that they have. But the eyes are really important because like there's two very important elements of an eye in particular, is the reflection and the light that sparkles from an eye. But not only that, when you look in somebody's eyes, you feel a connection with someone, emotional connection. And so I try to pay special attention to the eyes so that when someone views my piece, they feel connected to the animal in the painting that way, because the eyes are very detailed.
Gotcha. No, that makes a lot of sense, because when I looked at that, the eyes were very detailed, and yeah, even like I could look at the whisker and I could see like the fine detail you did there. So it was amazing. We look at it all the time, so we appreciate it. So with that said, obviously we definitely appreciate the artwork, but what makes it so satisfying for you?
Oh, I think what is most satisfying to me is that when I do a piece that someone feels connected to it, that they love the piece, they care about it, they feel connected to it. That way, they feel kind of bonded to the painting in that way, and you know, they I'm losing my train of thought here.
No, I understand what you're saying in terms of the connection.
When someone looks at one of my paintings, and it's a whimsical type of painting, I love that they feel like a lightheartedness or an uplifting feeling from my paintings. Or like if someone has shared a favorite photo of their pet, and that takes them back to maybe a special moment in time that they shared with their animal. And that's really important to me, that someone feels that kind of bond with their painting.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I'll just share, like when you came and gave us that portrait, for example, and we unveiled it, I think we could all tell that there was you could tell that there was an emotional connection on our end when we took a look at it. And I'm pretty sure that was satisfying for you, I'm sure, in the sense that
Oh, yes.
you could see that we were very happy with it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's amazing what art can do from that standpoint. So I guess just a final question here is, when I think about the skill that it takes to do a portrait like that, or any of the ones you've done, and I look at, if I tried to do anything like that, it would come out as stick figures. So it's just like, I have like zero capability to go do something like that. So that's why I'm so impressed by it. So how are you able to? Is that just like natural talent, or is that something you've learned, combination of both? I just wonder, how do you get to that point where you can do it?
Well, like I said a little bit earlier, is I didn't paint animals up until a few years ago. The fur really kind of made me a little nervous or scared off from it, because it seemed so complicated. So after I tried the cow, and I developed my skills to doing each little tiny wisp, I kind of uncomplicated it for me, and I developed the over time to be able to really fine tune it. So if you can imagine the time it takes to create one of these pieces, the layers and layers of itty bitty little strands of fur, that has become a comfortable way of painting for me. So it depends on the detail. of course, how complicated a piece is. But I draw them out, transfer them to the canvas, and then I look at each photo. And if I can see the detail in the photo, then I can try and replicate it onto the canvas as a painting.
Very cool. And so, like, you gave us an example there of level of detail that you take. So how long does it take you? I know it's going to vary depending on your piece, but how long can it take you, like a short time for a short piece, a less complicated piece versus a very complex one? How long can it take you to do, the range?
It, like you said, it depends. Some of my more relaxed, kind of artistic freedom type paintings can take a day, a couple of days, depending on how much time I want to devote to it. But with a commission that are very highly detailed, I usually try to give a month from start to finish. That way I can devote the time into it that it deserves, and reveal a piece that I'm proud of. And then I'll flip between paintings as well, because it's a complicated piece gets very uses a lot of focus. So I'll flip through other pieces and have something that's a little bit more abstract or carefree, and then go back to those pieces. I don't know if you heard that. My phone just made a noise. And go back to the more complicated pieces.
Gotcha. And then how much of your work is commissioned work that someone gives you, like, like for example, last where we asked you to do a portrait of our dog versus, the pieces that you decide to do?
Oh, sure. That I'd say about 15–20%. Like I was talking about how I flip between pieces, because I spend so much time on a commission piece. I mean, I'm open to a commission piece at any time. I'm available at any time to do a piece for someone, but I will do several other paintings while I'm working on one commission piece. That way I can flip back and forth and have something that's a little more relaxing, and then something that is a bit more complex. So I'd say I'm working on several different paintings during a commission piece, so it ends up being about 15%.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. And then, so if people want to check out your work, is Facebook the best place to go, like Holly's Art Imaginarium, or is there a different place? What's the best way for people to check out your work?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram is where I have all of my paintings that I've done listed on each of them, and they can contact me through each of those, or through Messenger, or Holly's Art Imaginarium at Gmail.
Okay, very cool. And then I know for anybody who's local in Virginia, you do, we were talking a little bit earlier, and you did mention you were at like Palette 22 in Shirlington. I guess you also do local events, is that right?
Yes, there are different things that I'll sign up for, art fairs or markets that might be around. I'm also with Delray Artisans. They do several exhibits throughout the year, and different art markets. And Palette also will have something called Wags and Whiskers that they participate in. And it's an outdoor fair in Shirlington every summer.
Okay, very cool. Well, hey, Holly, I appreciate the time. Very much appreciate the portrait as well, and really love your art. So hopefully we can share this with a few more people.
Yeah.
So, hey, thanks for taking the time today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
Definitely.